Hi guys, Dr. Mel. We're busy with chemistry and specifically chemical equilibrium. We've done the Kc values, we've done the table, we covered Le Chatelier's principle in terms of the favoring of one of the reactions, and we're now going to have a look at specifically the graphs because we can actually put all of these findings that we get in a graph, which obviously is easy to see. Although I want you to get a pen and paper ready and draw the graphs with me. Otherwise, you are going to have a problem answering a question, and I can guarantee you every exam paper will have a graph. It will have a Kc table question and it will have a graph question. So let's have a look at Le Chatelier's principle. Can you remember what Le Chatelier said? He said if we externally change the conditions, we increase either the temperature, the concentration, or the pressure, the system will want to do the opposite, mother-in-law. So it will want to take down the energy, take down the concentration, or lower the pressure, or increase. It depends on what the differences were. So if I disturb the system, it will want to get a new equilibrium by opposing that disturbance. Remember where we said it will first go forward a little bit and a bit more until you reach equilibrium. And if you're in the plant that wants to produce SO3 and this chemical equilibrium, you will have no product. So we need to change the equilibrium by disturbing a factor. We can put this on graphs that you've done before. We can measure the rate of the forward and the reverse reaction. Remember, you'll have on your y-axis you'll have the rate of the reaction. So you'll have a forward reaction like that. Why am I starting at the top? Because I start with reactants. Why do I have the products here at 0? Because I start with 0 products. So if it's the forward reaction, it will be going down and it will be going up. The products will increase and the reactants will get decreased as it's used. So it's important that you know. So you'll always see when we draw these, we've got that line where it just stays the same. Well, that signified that we've got equilibrium now. And for every forward reaction that's taking place, in the same time, a reverse is taking place, and you can see those arrows there. It's the forward as well as the reverse, and they are equal in size. Have a look at the arrow there. Can you see it's the forward reaction? It's just going forward. And have a look at the arrow here. It's the product here that's going to the reactants. Make sure that you see all the little indications on your graph. The reaction rate is now constant because it's equilibrium. Now, let's have a look at a graph where we've got the rate of reaction as we just did. And you see this is the forward and that one is the reverse. But we can also have the concentrations of the reactants and the products on a graph. Now let's have a look. On the first graph, it's just the forward and just the reverse. Now I'm going to have a look at the concentrations. I am starting with H2. Do you see I'm starting there with H2 with whatever concentration? And as the forward is taking place, it's lowering until it gets to that line which is parallel to this and this line. Can you see there? I'm also starting with I2, iodine, and there it's going until it reaches that line there. And then finally, I've got this product being formed until it gets there, and now I've got equilibrium. This is concentrations. I start off with no product, but I do have the two reactants, and you can see what's happening. Now I'm going to disturb the three factors. Firstly, I'm going to disturb the concentration. Now, if I've got concentration here, you saw now we took the reactants and they became lower. You can see there. And you've got the products until we get to this point. And if you have a look here, you can see it's a straight line, so I've got equilibrium. Now I'm going to disturb this equilibrium. I'm going to remove the product. Now let's quickly go to our questions. If I remove the product, I'm removing the HI. The mother-in-law wants to increase the HI. How can it increase the HI? With the forward reaction. Now, interesting. Have a look at your graph. Can you see here that line there is going down like a very steep lowering down? I call that a spike. So it's going down, and that says I'm removing HI. What will happen if I remove HI? Well, the forward reaction wants to form it. Can you see it's lowering there and lowering and increasing? So the forward is increasing, it's lowering until I get a new equilibrium. Now we take another disturbance. I am now going to add H2. It's this one here. If I add that, it wants to take it away, and again the forward will be favored. I'm adding, can you see that spike there? Then it's taking it away. It's taking away the I2 as well, and it's forming again the product. That's the graph for disturbing the concentration. Remember the word spike. It's either upwards or downwards. Make sure that you see the spike. The second disturbance that we're going to do is we're going to change the energy. Now this is a exothermic reaction. The exothermic means the energy is that side. That's one of the immediate things I do. I've got NO2, nitrogen dioxide, and I'm making N2O4. I've got 2 and 1 molecules, and that's the relationship. Okay, so what are we going to do? The forward reaction is taking place. You can see NO2 is lowering, so the forward is taking place, and the reverse is picking up. And here you've got chemical equilibrium. Equilibrium means they are parallel to each other. What are they doing now? Increasing the temperature. Now, if I increase the temperature, you know it's this side. If I increase the temperature, it wants to lower the temperature or the energy. It can't lower the energy. So it will be the reverse that will be favored. Can you see now the reverse? This product here is lowering and the reactance is increasing, and now they find a new equilibrium. And then finally, they are increasing the temperature. Decreasing the temperature, then it wants to increase. Can you see there? It will have a forward reaction, and in the forward reaction, more products being formed and the reactants lowered until it gets to chemical equilibrium. I've got no spike here, but you can see one of the reactions was indeed favored. Right, pressure. 1 and 3 gas particles and 2 this side. So it's actually 4 to 2. I've got the concentration again. I've got N2, you see there, and I've got H2, and that you can see there. So the forward reaction is taking place, and as the forward reaction is taking place, it's forming a product until this section here is chemical equilibrium. I am now decreasing, and now it's the pressure. So I'm taking down the pressure. If you take down the pressure, it wants to increase the pressure. Which of the reactions will increase the pressure? 4 to 2 or 2 to 4. You are correct if you say 4 to 2, so it is the reverse reaction. Now I want to clear this whole graph. Can you see here that graph, this graph, and this graph? All three of them is going down. Now that's what's your typical effect if you disturb the pressure, because the container is now being made smaller or larger. If I decrease the pressure, it's not the temperature, if I decrease the pressure, it wants to increase the pressure. So I decrease all three of them. It now wants to increase the pressure. So we already established it's the reverse reaction. And can you see, if the reverse reaction is taking place, more reactants is forming and less product. Let's now go to the increase in pressure. I'm increasing the pressure. Can you see? That's increasing as well as that one. Guys, you need to see that it's different to the concentration and the temperature. If I increase the pressure, it wants to decrease the pressure. 4 to 2, it will decrease the pressure going from 4 to 2. Can you see the forward reaction will lower the reactants and increase the product. I put them all three on one slide. What is the difference from the concentration, temperature, or pressure disturbance? Have a look. Concentration will have a spike. Temperature will have one up and one down. And pressure will have all three of them down or all three of them going up. It's easy if you understand what's happening if I increase or lower the pressure by changing the volume. The whole reaction, forward and reverse, will be influenced. One of the graphs that I want you quickly to identify, I've got 2NO, and I always write down the relationship just so that I know when I'm getting to the question of pressure, I know what's going on. And if I see delta H like that, I immediately put my energy that side. That's just the way I approach this. Can you see there's a spike there and another spike? Can you see the spikes, guys? So here you can see that's going up and this one is going down. And here you can see again going down and going up. So you need to see if it spikes, it's concentration, and if it's up and down, it's the temperature that's being changed. Remember to have a look, is it the rate of reaction or, as in the previous one, the concentration? Be careful. If it's concentration, it's reactants and products. And if it's rate of the reaction, it's the reverse and the forward reaction. We need to be able to identify chemical equilibrium with graphs. We need to be able to define the principle of Le Chatelier and then explain the disturbances, the changes. Remember, increase of temperature, concentration, or pressure will have mother-in-law trying to decrease that in order to get a new equilibrium. And then finally, you need to be able to interpret the graphs. And again, go to any source on the internet. You can Google questions on Le Chatelier and graphs, and you get exercises. And go to past papers and see if you can do those questions. It's good marks if you understand. And go and have a look at this lesson again if you want to revise and see if you can answer it. Bye-bye.